Considered by many to be one of the greatest NBA players in the league right now, Kevin Durant is celebrated for his incredible skill and personality both on and off the court. And when it comes to popularity, Durant comes second to none, with his many ventures forking out from his basketball career being used to attract followers who aren't even into the sport. But what are the things that the majority of fans don't know about Kevin Durant? And has he tried to keep anything secret from fans in the past? Well, whether you're a supporter of the Nets power forward or just want to know more about the behind-the-scenes workings of his life, you've come to the right place, as we're about to explore everything there is to know about Kevin Durant. So strap yourselves in and get ready for a crazy ride, as things are about to get interesting. But before we get into it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss out on any of the new videos we post. Number 1. The heartbreaking story behind his number. Fans of Kevin Durant would have noticed that regardless of who he ends up playing for, the number on his jersey remains the same. And while this is nothing new in the world of sportsmen, the story behind Kevin choosing the number 35 for himself is actually quite heartbreaking. You see, Durant learned next to everything he knows about basketball from his mentor and good friend, Charles Craig, who coached Kevin during his time playing in the AAU. Craig's life did, however, unfortunately come to an end back in April of 2005 when he was murdered outside of a bar in Laurel, Maryland. According to reports and eyewitness accounts from those present on the scene, Craig had actually been shot multiple times after fleeing from a fight that broke out in the bar. He was essentially killed while trying to make his way to his car. Not wanting anything to do with the fight whatsoever, Kevin was only 16 years old at the time of the murder and ended up taking the loss of his mentor pretty hard. As a show of respect for his fallen brother, Kevin began to wear the number 35 as a badge of honor, as Craig was only 35 years old when he passed away on that fateful night. Durant has first pick when it comes to acquiring new numbers, as this is a tradition that he hopes to keep up for the remainder of his career. Number 2. The Texas Longhorns still pay homage to him. Although Kevin Durant only played one full season for the Texas-based school, the Longhorns ended up retiring his jersey when he chose to move on, knowing full well that he was about to go on to do some amazing things. For those of you who don't know, this means that no other Texas Longhorns player is able to wear the same number that Kevin did back then. His jersey is now standing on display, serving as a reminder of one of the greatest years that the team has ever seen. In just that single year, Durant actually ended up scoring an average of around 25.8 points per game, showing just how much of an offensive asset he was. He also went on to average 11.1 rebounds, 1.3 assists, 1.9 steals, and of course, 1.9 blocks. As one of the best performances ever experienced by the team, Durant truly deserved to have his jersey retired there. Number 3. He had dreams of reaching for the stars. Kevin Wayne Durant, as he is formerly known, was born in Washington, D.C. on September 29, 1988, making him only 32 years old at the moment. But back before basketball ruled his life, he found himself looking up at the stars and dreaming about what it would be like to explore the secrets that they hold. This fascination with the stars then turned towards an understanding of the weather system, with earlier reports indicating that he wanted to eventually become a weather forecaster by trade. He was utterly fascinated with the science behind predicting the weather and was allegedly set to pursue the career until he developed his skills on the court. Luckily for fans of the game, Durant decided to leave this dream of his behind due to the fact that studying a science degree while training full-time was just not allowed in accordance with his schedule. It was either study meteorology or make a name for himself on the court, with the latter option being his preferred decision at the end of the day. But who knows what would have happened if Kevin chose to go in the direction of meteorology instead. Although it's possible that he may have become a legend on the weather predicting scene, there's no doubt that his legendary status on the court has garnered him more opportunities than he could ever take advantage of. In other words, congratulations, Kevin. You most definitely made the right decision with this one. Number 4. He liked it, so he kinda put a ring on it. Unlike some of the other older ballers on the NBA scene, Kevin Durant does not have a family at the moment, which is a fact that is almost always seen as both a positive and negative. On the positive side, he is able to travel and enjoy himself as the bachelor that he is. But on the negative side, people like to think that someone can only truly feel fulfilled once they have brought a child into the world or gotten married to the woman or man of their dreams. At the age of 32 though, it appears as if Kevin still has no special lady in his life. This wasn't always the case though, as can be seen once you take a deeper look into his history. As it turns out, Durant was actually engaged to be married a few years ago to former WNBA player Monica Wright. He actually ended up meeting Monica in high school, which is where they got close for the first time. Long story short, the two of them got engaged in 2013, but called it off a short while later due to some undisclosed issues. When talking about the split in an interview, Durant was heard saying the following: "I had a fiance, but I really didn't know how to, love her. You know what I'm saying? We just went our separate ways." This sparked rumors that Durant had actually cheated on Monica with another woman, but to this day, these rumors remain as baseless as an unstable coffee mug. But at least we know that he has the capacity to propose when the timing is right. All that man needs to do now is find a woman that checks all his boxes. And we're quite sure a few ladies are lining up at the door. Number 5. The Raptors was his team of choice. As a young boy growing up, Kevin had a pretty large appreciation for Vince Carter, whom he considered to be one of his greatest heroes of all time. And since Vince was playing for the Toronto Raptors at the time, Durant wanted to make a name for himself in the same way by being picked by Toronto. In fact, he has said in many interviews that he was prepared to accept the very first offer that Toronto would offer him during the draft, as he really wanted the Raptors to be his first NBA team for the sake of nostalgia. In the end, it was actually the Seattle Supersonics that drafted him in the 2007 NBA draft, making the decision to take him on as the second overall pick. So, if this was so important to Durant, why didn't he go ahead and wait for the Toronto pick? Well, as it turns out, the Toronto Raptors didn't even have a pick that year, leading him to accept the position put forward by the Supersonics. Funny enough, it was actually the Toronto Raptors that ended up putting an end to Durant's highly successful stint with the Golden State Warriors a while later when Kawhi Leonard took the win in the finals series in 2019. This caused Kevin to pack his bags once more, moving on to the Brooklyn Nets, where he continues to play till this day. But who knows? Maybe he has plans to move over to Toronto when a spot finally opens up. When it comes to Kevin Durant, we never really know. Number 6. The future of the Durant name. Although he is clearly one of the best NBA players of all time, Kevin Durant has interests that expand beyond the court. He is well aware of the fact that he won't be able to play basketball forever, with greats of the future set to outplay him in the coming days like he outplayed the greats of the past. This is why, as a distinguished businessman, he always keeps his eyes peeled for openings in the market. He even ended up opening up a restaurant by the name of KD's in the greater Oklahoma area. But what Kevin wants to achieve over and above everything else when he's done with basketball is to become a music producer. According to reports, he has always felt a deeper connection to music and would often listen to the same tracks over and over again in an effort to get pumped up before a basketball match. Becoming a music producer requires a lot of skill and passion though, which are two things that Durant is definitely not missing. So, as soon as he decides to retire for good, we can very much expect him to direct his attention towards the music department. And who knows, we might actually be listening to him sometime on the future radio. With the sheer number of connections that he has, this is always a certainty if he ends up going through with it. Number 7. He always carries a lucky item in his backpack. Listening to music isn't the only thing that used to hype Durant up before a big game though. Being a devout Christian, Kevin also ensures that he always has his lucky Bible in his backpack, which he could use to pray and feel closer to God. In his own words, "The Bible both pumps me up and balances me to play my best." Whether this really helps his game, we have no idea, as he hasn't gone a single game without forgetting it. Now that's commitment. What do you think of Kevin Durant? Feel free to let us know in the comment sections down below.